All the stories you know and love in a me sort of way, bringing religion, spirituality, and who knows what else.
Listen to the Pastor with the Master battle the thunder from down under.
On Religion, Ho-Ho's Way. Welcome to Religion, Ho-Ho's Way, and as always, I'm your host, Ho-Ho. How are y'all doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. So, this episode, we're going to be talking about juice. Juice or Kool-Aid, because that is a really important question. When we are discussing, churches, where you're going to attend and whatnot, because it's not so much about the flavor. I mean, there are many different denominations out there. There's apostolic, there's Pentecostal, there's Nazarene, there's a lot of flavors out there. Okay, there's a lot of flavors, but that's not what's important. What's important is, are you getting something of substance? Are you getting truth? And is it a flavor that you like? Because we all have our favorites, in life, whether we're talking, genres of books or movies or music, we all have that preference. Do we prefer, comfort over functionality, or, is it about style over comfort? Is it about this or that, juice or bananas, or, oranges or bananas, apples or pears? What is it? What is your preference? What flavor do you prefer? But it's not the flavor that's important. It's all about the nutrition. Because if you prefer grape Kool-Aid over grape juice, then there's a problem. Because then for you, you're wanting something that tastes good. You want something that may make you feel good. You want something that doesn't challenge you, but it doesn't benefit you. It doesn't help you grow. It doesn't help you advance your faith. It doesn't help you in your journey. And that's a problem. It's not about flavor. It's about truth. It's about the message. It's about substance. And I grew up in the church. For me, God wasn't a question. He was an answer. Faith wasn't something that I questioned. I don't, it's just, I know, it's just, it's that simple. And on that aspect, I consider myself kind of fortunate that I grew up in that type of environment, because it took a lot of the questions off the table, struggles that I didn't have to go through, because, not that I've not gone through struggles. I have, it's like, but I don't question God's existence. I don't question his love for me. I don't question, I don't question his faithfulness in his people. I may question my place in his plan. I may question that kind of stuff, but it's not, I don't question his existence. I may question God, but I don't question his existence. I grew up in the church. So on that aspect, for me, it's kind of easy, and if you don't come from a background like that, that's okay. We all have different backgrounds. We all, we all jump on this ship in different times of our journey, different points in our lives. None of that matters. But back to the juice. Because the fact of the matter is, you go to a church that has a flavor of juice that you like. Because if you don't like it, then you're not going to go back to it. And it doesn't matter how nutritional it is to you. If it's something you just don't like, then you're not going to get any benefit out of it. Like grapefruit juice. Nuh-uh. I'm not drinking I don't like grapefruit juice. I mean, yeah, it may be good for you. I don't want to drink it. It's like cranberry juice. Same thing. Yeah, it's good for you, but I don't like the taste. So that's not going to benefit me. That's not going to help me. It's not going to help me in my journey. And the same goes for life. We all have that thing to just, no, I'm not trying that. I've tried it. I don't like it. I ain't doing it. So when you are picking a church, now look, y'all know how I feel about, religion, because for me, I translate religion as, the law. I am relationship type of a person. That is what God wanted for his people. He didn't want a book of laws. He wanted to be with us, and he wanted to, be our friends and part of our lives. It was about that relationship. It wasn't about the law. But there's a saying out there: steel sharpens steel. It's important in your journey, in your walk, to go to church, because it's that, we ain't perfect. Ain't nobody out there is. If you think you are, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. And that's okay. You can be wrong. But just, don't think you're perfect and you don't need to go. We all need to go, because steel sharpens steel. It keeps you sharp. It keeps you focused. It helps you in your decision making. It helps you in your journey. It helps you keep your focus. With me getting back into doing religion ho-ho's way, there's been like a couple months, and this pretty well started about 2 months ago. I started getting ideas and I started getting things, and the Spirit was just, pressing in on me. It's like, dude, talk about this, talk about that, talk about the other. And the problem is, I'm so ADD, half the time I can't recall, from one day to the next, from 1 hour to the next, what it was that thought process was. And that's one of the reasons why I carry around a recorder, because if I don't, and I can't just be like, blah, 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 then, I'm not going to remember. The train's going to leave the station, and I'm going to be sitting there, and I'm going to be left behind, and I don't want that. So I carry a recorder around with me most of the time, because that happens to me a lot. It really does. And I've been having a lot of, just brainstorms on different things to cover. And believe me, there's a lot that's coming around the corner. And these are going to be getting very regularly posted. I haven't decided if it's going to be like on Saturday or on Sunday. I'm kind of tossing back and forth on it. But again, back to the topic at hand. It's about juice. It's about something that is real. So, going to church and reading the word and growing in your faith, walking that walk, it's important. I was talking with somebody not that long ago, and it was like, they don't tell you a lot of the stuff that they know when it comes to create. Now, I'm not talking about like the church in general. I'm talking, science. Science doesn't tell you things. There's a lot of things that science doesn't tell you. And he asked me, he's like, dude, why do they do that to you? I go, dude, it's about control. We all worship something, whether we realize it or not. We all have religion, because in the stripped down version or the meaning of what religion is, it's the collective beliefs that you have that dictate how you live your life. That's what religion is. It's not necessarily believing in a God. It's more or less an aspect of, where do you put your faith? Some people put their faith in God. Some people put their faith in Allah. Some people put their faith in Jesus. Some people put their faith in government. We all worship something. And what we worship determines the direction of our lives. In every aspect. Because religion is our collective beliefs that govern how we walk through our lives. That's all it is. Stripped down, Webster's dictionary, that's what religion is. It ain't got nothing to do with the spirituality. It ain't got nothing to do with God. It's just the collective beliefs that you have. So we all have, we all believe in something, But it's about, again, flavor. As long as they are teaching truth, that's what's important. I've been to a non-denominational, I've been to a lot of different churches throughout the years, And I have most definitely learned that it's about substance. Because there's a lot of different churches out there, and no, not all churches are the same, because some of them may teach a version of truth, but there are certain things that they leave out that, in a matter of speaking, is kind of bad. Like I was saying in the last episode, literally translate the message of the pun. If you only have part of the truth, then you don't have all of it. And there's things that you're missing. Now, in some cases, that's not a big deal, but in others, that what is lacking in the truth that you would receive from someplace else that you're not receiving where you're at, it could be a game changer. It may make you look at something different. It may make you look at somebody else different. Because there's a lot of different ways to get knocked off your path, to get knocked off the walking path, to, take a bypass, and a country tour through the woods, and hopefully you don't get lost. It ain't about following the yellow brick road, because I'll tell you what, if you're trying to follow the yellow brick road, then you ain't on a road that's bound for heaven, just saying. If you understand the hidden meaning in that one, then congratulations. I'm glad you did. But substance. Make sure that what you are being taught is truth. Make sure that they're not leaving out truths that may be negative in your walk. You know what I mean? Like if, for instance, there's, now look, I'm not going to call out, at least on this episode, any specific denominations, but sometimes you have, it's like they may believe in this, but they do not believe in that. And their do not believing in that is that they don't believe in that so strongly that whenever it comes to people that do believe in that, they write them off as basically being one step away from a devil worshiper. The Bible warns against certain churches that teach certain things. But what the Bible doesn't say is that they're not men of God, men or women of God, that they're not on that path, but they just have a skewed look at something, and it's going to hurt them in the end. It doesn't say that they're devil worshipers. It says that the flavor that you've decided to go with isn't helping anything, and you're doing more harm than good by teaching a version of the truth and leaving out truths that would allow you to get a more balanced nutritional diet from the church you're going to. Don't be that church. That's what they're saying. Don't be that church. Don't be that guy. Truth. But not half-truths. Teach all of it. Because like as much of a believer as I am in relationship over law, I still understand the value of the law. I understand that there is a reason why it was done like that. And not just for the aspect of, we were stupid, ignorant children and we needed God to hold our hands. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, yeah, that's true, but it ain't what I'm saying. We were kids. We were ignorant. We needed that law to help guide us to wanting the relationship. But that doesn't mean, like when Jesus came back, I mean, he didn't abolish the law, he fulfilled it. The law is still there. It still exists. It's still something that we should keep in mind. But just know that in your relationship with God, in your walk with God, it's not about where you're at, it's about where you're going. I'm going to have an episode about that one, so I'm not getting too much into that. Substance. You can't go to a church that only teaches half the Bible and think that you're going to get the whole truth. You can't go to a church that teaches one book and think you're going to have a full grasp on who God really is. I have a brother. He's 2.5 years older than I am. And something at my mom's house came up missing. And she asked me if I had it. And I was like, no, I ain't got it. And, she was like, well, I asked Neil and he doesn't know where it went either. And it was an aspect of it. It got stolen. That's just all there is to it. It got stolen. We know who did it, but that doesn't matter. And a friend of mine was like, I bet your brother took it. And I was like, he didn't take it. Because mom asked him, he gave an answer and the answer was no. And, I know who my brother is and he wouldn't lie about something like that. It's like, regardless of how I may feel about my brother from one day to the next, regardless of whether I am getting along with him or not, regardless of, how much I may or may not like him, I know who he is. I didn't even have to ask my brother, hey, did you do this? Because I knew already. Because I knew my brother. And I could say with confidence, no, he didn't do it. I know he didn't do it. It's not a question for me. That's the type of relationship that God wants to have with you. He wants you to know him to the point that you hear something about whom God is, and you don't have to go to Scripture to question it. You don't have to go to the Scripture to find out. You'll just know in your knower, in that place where you know things, that no, this isn't true, or yes, it absolutely is. That's the type of relationship he wants to have. And the only way you're going to get that is by consuming truth, by consuming juice. That almost rhymed. That's the only way. That's it. I mean, it's really that simple. It really is. So I hope y'all have learned something from this one. And now, okay, I got something to add. I actually have a slight bit of announcement. Okay. Yes, I do this show as a podcast. It's pre-recorded, generally a week, if not more, except for this most recent episode. I actually posted it right after I got done doing it. But for the most part, these are going to be posted, or at least recorded, a week in advance. Okay. I'm probably going to be releasing these on Saturday at around the noon o'clock hour, but here's the thing. Okay. As per a conversation I've had with people, I am very much wanting to get him on the show. I want to talk. I want to talk with him. I want to hear his story. And I want y'all to hear his story too, because here's the thing. Okay. We all have a past. We all have a history. We are all on different points in our journey. we all have a story to tell. And those stories are powerful. You know, those stories can be somebody else's difference between, you know, eternal salvation and eternal damnation. It really can be. And so I think this is something that would be that's important to do. You know, I really do. And in an aspect when it comes to the show, and really this goes for any of them. Okay. If you live in the area and if you've got a topic that you're passionate about that you want to hear, let me know. Let me know down in the comments if you are listening on Spreaker, if you are on YouTube, if you are on any of those other places that the video is on, then let me know. You can also email me directly, hoho@thehohoshow.com. You can head on over to thehohoshow.com, scroll on down to the bottom, the contact me section, and put that in there as well. Or you can, oh wait, nope, those are the only ways you can do it. That's it. Those are the only ways you can do it. But let me know if you got something that you're wanting to hear, a topic you're wanting to cover, a topic you're wanting a little bit more of a deep dive into, let me know. And we'll make it happen. If it's something that you would like to talk with me about, we can get you on air. You ain't got to be on video if you don't want to. You ain't even got to be on, in the studio. I've got the ability to do call-ins, all the other kind of good stuff. We'll figure it out. Just let me know. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good time. And I am looking forward to it because, we all got that story to tell, that's part of giving, your testimony. You go to church long enough, you hear people's testimony. That's why they give those. It ain't to put somebody up on a pedestal. It's about, somebody's story may help somebody else in their journey, in their climb. One quick point about the whole juice or Kool-Aid that I wanted to throw in there and I forgot about. And this is about with churches. There's a lot that you can glean from a church. Gleam or glean? I'm not exactly sure what's the proper word right there. There's a lot you can learn about a church and how they believe, the functionality of the whole thing by where they have the altar. Some churches have the altar roped off. You can't get there. So let me back up. Some churches have the altar right there, right in front of the stage, right in front of the podium where the pastor would speak. Some churches have their podium there. There's a lot to be said about that. Some churches have their altar. I'm sorry. Some churches have their altar behind the podium. There's a lot to be said about that. Some churches don't just have their altars behind the podium. It's separate from the rest of the sanctuary. You can't get to it. It's closed off. There's a lot to be said about that. And that's basically the topic of another episode that will be coming. Because a couple episodes that I'm going to be talking about soon, episodes that are coming within the next week or two, like as in the next episodes after this one, false prophet, false idols. It's not about what you may think it is. But this is a difference between juice and Kool-Aid that's important. But just know, it's about the juice. It's about the nutrition. It's about the substance. It doesn't matter where you go, as long as what you're being taught is truth. As long as you're not being taught lies, as long as it pushes you forward, as long as it steel sharpens steel and it helps you in your journey and you're not being lied to just to make you feel better about yourself, as long as that's not the case, you probably got juice. And listen to the Spirit. Spirit will talk to you. The Spirit will let you know. You'll get that feeling. Listen to it. It's about all I can say. It's about it. I thank y'all for stopping by. I really do. Have yourself a great one. And until next time, have a good one. Thank you for listening to Religion Ho-Ho's Way. For a complete listing of episodes and shows, you can head to thehohoshow.com and click on the episode tab. See you next time.